Hi. What? Move it up? Don't move it up. All right, I got a question for you, though. There'll be times when I will just spontaneously break into song. Here, at the microphone, like before I move over for other things. So if I'm singing here, is that going to be a problem? All right. Okay. You won't know when it's going to happen. I know when it's going to happen, I think. So, all right. And then, do we need to do any other mic checks for anything? No? All right. Okay.
Good morning, church. It is a new day, and a new day should be met with song. Will you join me in singing, "Now Let Us Sing," to begin our service? Or we can just start.
Let's see. Okay. Okay. We can do it. Let's see. Now let us sing. Are you ready? Anybody got a note? Let's see. Now let us sing. Now let us sing. You ready? Now let us sing. Sing to the power of the faith within. Now let us sing to the power of the faith within. Lift up your voice. Be not afraid. Let us sing to the power of the faith within. Now let us sing. Sing to the power of the faith within. Now let us sing. The power of the hope within. Lift up your voice. Be not afraid. Sing to the power of the hope within. Now let us sing. Sing to the power of the love within. Now let us sing. Sing to the power of the love within. Lift up your voice. Be not afraid. Sing to the power of the love within. Now let us sing. Sing to the power of the joy within. Now let us sing. The power of the joy within. Lift up your voice. Be not afraid. Sing to the power of the joy within. Thank you.
Y'all are awesome.
You would join me. We light this chalice to celebrate Unitarian Universalism. This is the church of the open mind. This is the church of the helping hands. This is the church of the loving heart. Together we care for the church and each other.
Welcome to St. John's Unitarian Universalist Church. I am so glad that you have joined us here today, whether you are in person or online. Ours is a special congregation. We are indeed the church of the open mind, the helping hands, and the loving heart, but we are not a church with easy answers. I want you to hear me. We are not a church that will tell you this is the right way or this is the only way. We are a church that will encourage you to seek your truth. We are a church who will walk with you, who will share space with you, who will do the work with you. What we ask from you is courage. What we ask from you is a commitment to daily ask yourself, am I living with integrity? Am I living with grace? Am I living with hope, love, faith, and joy? Today's very special service, our director of music, Rob Thacker, is telling us about his journey, and he is telling us through music, because we are also a church that recognizes that there are many vocabularies of faith. For some of you, your vocabulary of faith is gardening. For some of you, it is service. For some of you, it is caring for family and extended family and drawing the circle of family ever wider. Whoever you are, wherever you are in your journey of faith, you are welcome here this morning. Our next hymn is number 126, Come Thou Font of Every Blessing. Will you rise, embody your spirit, and give your voice to the song?
Offers
Please stay standing for our affirmation. This is the mission of our faith, to teach the fragile art of hospitality, to prove and the generous heart, to prove that diversity need not mean divisiveness, and to witness to all that we must hold the whole world in our hands. Thank you.
Hi. So I want to explain a little bit about the service today and why I even thought of doing this. Right now I'm thinking it was a little crazy. But last year when we were doing the small group singing, one of the Sundays we were in the sanctuary, we were singing Blue Boat Home. And it was on the list for the day. And as we sang it, I realized it was the same tune as this song that we're about ready to sing that's probably going to make many of you very uncomfortable, called In Humility Our Savior. But it just hit me, this convergence, and I had to take a moment, and I apologized to the group and kind of explained what was going on. And Judy Strong said, "The music stays long after the theology is gone." And I went, yeah, that's what's happening right now. And this really got me thinking, what would a musical approach to my faith journey look like? And I wrote down a few thoughts and then kind of put things away, saying maybe I'll do that eventually, right? And then not too long ago, Mitra and I were talking about July and what we would do, and she was like, "Do you have any ideas for topics?" And I was like, "What about faith transition?" She's like, "That's a great idea." And then I was like, I had this idea once that I maybe would do this sermon about my faith transition and music, and she went, "That's brilliant. How about July 24th?" And I went, but I said yes, and here we are, right? So, as you can imagine, my religious faith journey is very much connected to music. My family has always sung together. They always used to joke that my dad's name is Vaughn, and we were the Von Thacker family singers. In fact, for many years, I would walk into church even as an adult and look at the hymns for the day, often which I had chosen as the music director. But I'd look at the hymns for the day if I hadn't chosen them and kind of make a prejudgment on how well the service was going to go, because I'd be like, "I like it, like it, okay," right? So, but if the hymns were going to be fun, then it was going to be a good day. The doctrines and beliefs of a group, of course, are reflected in the songs of that group. And many of my most spiritual moments in life have become connected with music, and music that can illustrate and share an experience. And there, of course, is this common thread. There's this familiarity that is found in music. So, to begin, if you all look in your inserts, and there's this piece that we're going to sing together, this hymn, In Humility Our Savior, a song that I already said kind of started what happened today. And I want you to remember that underlying tune is Blue Boat Home. And even if you don't believe the words, sing it like you do, okay? Go with me on this, all right? So, Pung Cheng, could you please In Humility? Yep. Oh. Yeah. It's in the insert. Here we go. I believe you. Fill our hearts with sweet forgiving. Teach us tolerance and love. I was born on January 26, 1979, to Vaughn and Carolyn Thacker. I was their third child, eventually the third of five, and being a member of the church, being a member of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, being Mormon, was such a part of my identity. If someone had asked me to tell them about myself, one of the first things I would have said is, I'm a Mormon. It would have been right up there, high on that list. But my faith journey began as a child, really from birth, right? One of the very first foundational truths that I was taught, as I'm sure many of you were, depending on the faith transition or faith history that you came from, tradition, that was the word I was looking for, was that I was a child of God and that I should have a relationship with God because he cared about me and he wanted me to return to him someday. And so, the words to this song, primary song, I am a child of God. I am a child of God, and he has sent me here, has given me an earthly home with parents kind and dear. I am a child of God, and so my needs are great. Help me to understand his words before it grows too late. I am a child of God. Rich blessings are in store. If I but learn to do his will, I'll live with him once more. I am a child of God. His promises are sure. Celestial glory shall be mine, if I can but endure. Lead me, guide me, walk beside me, help me find the way. Teach me all that I must do to live with him someday. I'm going to now turn it over to Mitra to lead us into the Stones for Joys and Concerns, but I want to say that the piece that Peng Ching is going to play for that is an arrangement of I'm a Child of God, combined with Abide with Me. So two hymns, one that you maybe are more familiar with, one that you're not. And I'd encourage you to think about your beginnings, perhaps your relationship with the divine.
There comes a time in our service where we share our joys and sorrows through the placing of stones in a common dish of sand. If you are joining us online and you would like your joy or sorrow spoken, please text me at my cell number. I have my phone. I will get it and be able to place a stone for you or share your joy or sorrow from the pulpit if you would like that done. Yes, so do we, I'm just checking, do we have the ability to put up my number? Robert, so yes, very good. It's a little bit of a mixed message if you say text me with your joy or sorrow and then don't tell people how to do that. So I want to make sure that we are good with that. So I invite you to come forward and share in this tradition as Peng Ching plays. And, Rob has been brave and elegant and is continuing to be brave and elegant. At one point, I had to write my theology to get my master's, and I said, "We are all beloved children of the universe." Yes. So let us care for each other and share of our joys and sorrows. It is our tradition at St. John's to light a candle for when one of our members passes away. Bert Huther, a longtime St. John's member, died on July 17th. Bert and his wife Carol joined St. John's in 1967. Yes, he was a professor of genetics at UC, and his obituary is posted in Kroll Pfeiffer. Let us remember that we are inheritors of those who have gone before us. They made a place for us to enter, and we honor them with gratitude and service our own. Melissa Gutter Jackson and Noah Gutter Hunkel are grieving the death of their 20-year-old cat, Misty. She was euthanized on Tuesday. But as I told Noah, the fact that their cat lived to a happy 20 years old is very much to his credit and very much to the family's credit. And we know it hurts to lose a family member like that, but I also want you to be very proud that you made a very good home for her. Rich Overturf shares a sorrow that a good and dear friend of many years, Janice Kopp, was referred to hospice and is near death. Rich writes, "I will miss her dearly." I did have one note, maybe more. Oh, 2 notes, yay. One note asking to place a stone just for St. John's, and another from Melissa Rowland sharing the joy for my mother out of the nursing home for the pizza party for the first time since COVID began. So, yes, we celebrate the joys, including the joy of technology that lets us connect with those beyond these walls, always so important. I want to say a word of gratitude for Aaron Zoller, who spent yesterday working with refugees and then finished the night by engineering a partition so that a 2-bedroom apartment could become an affordable 3-bedroom apartment. So we appreciate Aaron's creativity and genius and engineering skills.
I can show you pictures in Kroll Pfeiffer.
It's okay to brag on this. It was quite brilliant, yes. Will you join me in an attitude of prayer? Holy One of blessing, we are all on journeys. May we be aware that when we wake up in the morning and when we lay our heads down to go to sleep at night, we are not alone. We are in the company of our friends. We are in the company of friends we have not yet met. We are in the company of humanity. We are in the company of all animals and trees and all that lives and grows beneath the sun. Indeed, we are in the company of the cosmos. May we realize the gifts we are given and the promise that we are not alone. May we respond by sharing what we have with humility and grace. May we be kind and gentle and love one another always. So may it be. Amen. Rob? Thank you.
Some thoughts. The path trod before. I come from a long line of members of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. Both Tamara and I have ancestors that were connected to Joseph Smith, the original prophet, like part of his first 12 apostles. She's got more connection than I do. It was actually great-great-great-grandfather, where mine was like an uncle or something. Anyway. But point is, we both have ancestors that crossed the plains and were part of that Mormon pioneer trek across the plains to Utah. And it's fitting that today is July 24th, which if you're in Utah is a holiday. It's the days of 47. It's Pioneer Day. It's actually the 175th anniversary of when the Mormon pioneers arrived in Utah today. So there you go. So how fitting that I'm doing this today, right? So, and a words the words from a hymn that harkened to that time. It was a favorite hymn of the Mormon pioneers as they crossed the plains. Come, come, ye saints. Come, come, ye saints. No toil, no labor fear, but with joy wend your way. Though hard to you this journey may appear, grace shall be as your day. 'Tis better far for us to strive, our useless cares from us to drive. Do this in joy, your hearts will swell. All is well, all is well. We'll find the place where God for us prepared, far away in the west, where none shall come to hurt or make afraid, and there the saints will be blessed. We'll make the air with music ring, shout praises to our God and King. Above the rest, these words will tell, all is well, all is well. And should we die before our journey's through, happy day, all is well. We then are free from toil and sorrow too. With the just we shall dwell. But if our lives are spared again to see the saints their rest obtain, oh, how we'll make this chorus swell. All is well, all is well. We'll now take up an offering to support the good work of this church, while Peng Chang plays an arrangement of Come, Come, Ye Saints for us. And I would encourage you to think about the paths that you've trod before and the paths that you have yet to trod. Thank you. Thank you, Peng Chang. All right. I know we already started, but here we go. Okay. As I already said, I was born into a family where religion and a religion where there was a plan. There was a set of steps that would be part of that plan, and that plan was there to pass through necessary doors with that end goal of living with God again, to live with your family for forever, to be an eternal family. And those doors were necessary steps in order to be that eternal family. And in preparing for this, my daughter, Micaiah, shared an analogy with me, one that she has shared with many people as she talks about her faith transition and journey. And so I'm going to borrow it and maybe tell it in my way a little bit. But it's this idea that, that faith and this foundation is a house. And as we walk into that house, maybe born into that house, there are doors, there are steps, there are things to take, and there are doors that say things like faith and testimony and baptism and priesthood and mission and temple marriage. And at some point in time, those doors were going to be walked through. And that was the goal, and that was to be there. And then finally you get to a point where you'd be like, and now I just got to make it to the end. Essentially doors behind doors that would open other doors, right? I think you get the idea, right? And of course, those doctrines were taught and remembered through songs like, Jesus wants me for a sunbeam to shine for him each day. In every way try to please him, at home, at school, at play. A sunbeam, Jesus wants me for a sunbeam, a sunbeam, a sunbeam. I'll be a sunbeam for him. Oh, the sunbeams are like the 3-year-olds, and when they sing that, everybody's like, I love this, right? So, songs to support and build that structure of faith, to build those walls. Faith is knowing the sun will rise, lighting each new day. Faith is knowing the Lord will hear my prayers each time I pray. Faith is like a little seed. If planted, it will grow. Faith is a swelling within my heart. When I do right, I know. And that faith grew, and at the ripe old age of 8 years old, I made the decision to walk through the door of baptism. And you're all like, 8? Anyway, just go with me here, right? I like to look for rainbows whenever there is rain, and ponder on the beauty of an earth made clean again. I want my life to be as clean as earth right after rain. I want to be the best I can and live with God again. I know when I am baptized, my wrongs are washed away, and I can be forgiven and improve myself each day. I want my life to be as clean as earth right after rain. I want to be the best I can and live with God again. I stayed on that path. At 12, as a male member of the church, I could receive what was called the Aaronic priesthood. I became a deacon and then a teacher and then a priest. And I was encouraged to walk through that door of testimony, of knowing for myself that this was the truth and this was the one true church, and get that witness from my Heavenly Father. And I set my expectations high. Heavenly Father, are you really there? And do you hear and answer every child's prayer? Some say that heaven is far away, but I feel it close around me as I pray. Heavenly Father, I remember now something that Jesus told disciples long ago. Suffer the children to come to me. Father, in prayer I'm coming now to thee. Pray, he is there. Speak, he is listening. You are his child, his love now surrounds you. He hears your prayer. He loves the children. Of such is the kingdom of heaven. And I held on to that promise that he would answer that prayer. And I did have many experiences that I felt in my heart and that I felt were answers showing me the existence of God and how much he cared for me. But there was still that one question that I felt like I didn't ever have answered directly, and that was the very important question of whether the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints was the one and only true church. And I asked so many times, and I never felt like I received this burning in my heart in response to that question. But still, there was a next door in front of me, and that was to go on a mission for the church, to be a missionary. And at 18, I became an elder in the Melchizedek priesthood. At 19, I went on a mission for 2 years in Germany. And I'm going to say I decided to do that. It was a big step. It was expected. And it was the next door. And it was on that path. And I wanted to stay on that path. And it was also the only path I'd ever been shown. So being a missionary, you can imagine 19-year-old with one other 19-year-old, 20-year-old in Germany as missionaries. I got lots of stories I could tell you, but actually kind of funny, when I was applying for my most recent job, they said, "How are you at dealing with rejection? It's a sales job." And I went, "Ha! I'm good. Yeah. So as a Mormon missionary, my job was to share the gospel and teach those interested in learning about the church and guide them to baptism. And one of those people I'd been meeting with, it was like at this point where I was like, you got to do something. You got to show some faith. You got to pray. You're going to get an answer. And by the way, I've never actually gotten an answer to this question I'm asking you to ask right now. So 1 week's time, we're going to get together, and I'm going to have an answer, and you're going to have an answer. Yeah. And so I prayed, and I prayed, and I prayed, and I fasted. And it was the night before, and I was like, I don't have an answer. How can I go to this person the next day and say, yeah, I didn't get an answer, did you? So you want to get baptized? Right, that's what you want to do. So that night before, I decided I was going to pray until I had my answer. Even if it took all night long. And so I got on my knees and I prayed with all my heart, with all my soul. And my answer came, and it was fire from heaven. And my answer changed the way that I saw things, and it changed the way I felt things. And so I'd like to share 2 songs with you that mean a lot to me. The first one is one that I did sing before my mission, and throughout my mission. It was a common request, because I sang a lot on my mission as well. But after this experience, it meant something more to me because it was my story and describing my wrestle before God. And the second one's about this deeper shift in my heart and the desire to serve God and his children even more. So the first one is called My Soul Hungered. The second one is called I Will Not Be Still. Oh, my soul hungered, my heart cried out, please, Lord, release me from pain and from doubt. Oh, my soul hungered the moment I knelt down to pray and felt all my doubts wash away. My soul hungered, he heard my cry. The voice of the Lord spoke peace to my mind. Oh, my soul hungered, things that were old became new. When I learned to feel what I already knew.
my soul. I've wrestled before the Lord to make my life whole. He filled my hunger. He fed my soul. He fed my soul. The truth that belonged to everyone else was now a sacred part of myself. Oh, I found out what I could not find when I heard with my heart what I knew in my mind. With all my heart, with all my soul, I've wrestled before the Lord to make my life whole. He filled my hunger. He fed my soul. He fed my soul. My soul hungered. I've never been the kind to testify. I don't have the words his truth deserves. But it's a simple thing he asks, a worthy heart and willing hands. I know if I'll make the choice, he'll help me find my voice. He calls me to serve, and I cannot fail him. The one who has given me all that I have. I place my trust in him alone. He knows the yearnings of my soul. Because he believes in me, I will go willingly. How can I keep this gift to myself when I can lift somebody else? I am a witness of his miracles and his mercy. I put my future in his hands, knowing he's made me I am. When I put my faith in him, his truth begins to speak. His power is real. It moves me until I will not be still. His power is real. It moves me until I will not be still.
So that's where I was at, right? I wanted to be the servant. I had this deeper conviction to stay true to the course. The path wasn't necessarily clearer than before, but it had even more purpose. It had become my path. And I came home and I was ready to take that next step. I was ready to move through the next door, the one of temple marriage, to be part of my own eternal family. I have a family here on earth. They are so good to me. I want to share my life with them through all eternity. While I am in my early years, I'll prepare most carefully so I can marry in God's temple for eternity. Families can be together forever through Heavenly Father's plan. I always want to be with my own family, and the Lord has shown me how I can. The Lord has shown me how I can. So I went through the door of Brigham Young University, because that was always where I was going to go. That's the only college I applied to. And on the night I moved in, I met a certain Tamara Tungate. And after she destroyed me in a game of ping pong, we spent the evening walking around campus, talking, and she saw the world differently than I did in so many ways, but not too many ways, right? Because we were both at BYU, we were still on the same path, and our goals were the church's goals. We both were at BYU, right? And though it was a bit of a tumultuous story, back and forth, eventually she helped me see that we'd be great together. And after 6 weeks of knowing each other, she proposed to me. Yeah. I wasn't expecting it, but I had come into my heart another fire from heaven, an answer that confirmed for me that marrying her was the right choice. So I said, I will marry you if you'll marry me. And so I guess we both said yes. We got married at the end of the semester. So we'd known each other about 15 weeks, okay? But I wrote in my journal the night before we got married that I was marrying my best friend. And on December 21st, 2000, we were sealed together for time and all eternity in the LDS temple, and things were good. But married life was hard. I was 21, Tamara was 19, and we got married. Makai was born 10 months later. And, it's kind of funny. Tamara always used to say, I'm a teenage pregnancy statistic. But then she was like, but I won't be a teenage mother because I'll be 20 by the time she's born. So, so undergrad happened. Elijah was born 3 months before we moved to Cincinnati for me to start graduate school. Tiancum, my youngest son, was born 2 years into graduate school, all while giving 10% of our gross income to the church and serving the church in various ways. And though life was stressful and always busy, the church and my family provided that purpose. There was always that eternal goal. They were that thing, that eternity that we were working towards together. And our house was built. We had our family, and we each had each other, and our children's houses were being built, and they were getting ready to walk through these doors. And though there was a very long list of things we were supposed to do, like the things that you're supposed to do if you're righteous daily and weekly and monthly, a very long list of things, things that you needed to do to be closer to God and have a perfect family. But really, all in all, there were very few doors left to go through other than to just serve and endure to the end. And it's supposed to be easy, right? Well, as I said, one of the things I loved about Tamara was that she saw the world a bit differently than most members of the church. But did I? Really? Did I really love her for that? Because things became more complicated. And a particular topic, gay marriage, came up. It was something we often discussed, argued about, discussed, because the way she saw it wasn't the way the church saw things. And after a lot of discussion, I saw her way of seeing things and her way of loving and accepting people, and that it was valid. But I still struggled to find this middle ground. I remember when she felt comfortable enough to post something on Facebook about her support for gay marriage and felt like the church had finally come far enough that she wouldn't be criticized. And then she got reported and called into the bishop's office. Actually, they came to me first and said, hey, you need to talk to your wife. And I went, I have. You are free to talk to her. We have spent many, many hours discussing this, and I'm good with where she's at. Okay, even if I see it a little bit differently. I would say that was maybe not the beginning of the end, but But for Tamara, that journey had already started, and she already had this open heart. And we kept talking about it and the church's lack of tolerance. And though I kept saying my mind, it was opening these views and ideas, my heart was still towing the doctrine and church policy line, because that's where I was. I was a leader in the church. I was a member of the ministry. And we both kept talking, and essentially it was clear that the more tolerance for the LGBTQ community and gay marriage was not the path that was going to be trod. And Tamara couldn't do it anymore. And she had for years been criticized for her views, and had talked, and I just kept talking her into staying, like, it's going to change. But finally it was enough. And she talked to me, and I verbalized my love and support for her decision to step away from the church and eventually remove her name from the church records. But now I see that what I had said then, that I thought was supportive, was undermined by my own heart, because my heart wasn't on board. Support in one moment with words and defending her and getting upset at people who questioned her decision, while telling Tamara that I didn't really want her to talk to our kids about their thoughts and views. I didn't want them to be tainted. I didn't want them to lose their budding testimonies. Had to be protected. Needless to say, that caused a bit of conflict. And I remember at one point in time saying, I don't understand how an issue like gay marriage could be so important, more important than our eternal family. And yet this idea of keeping my family together and staying with Tamara kept me there, even though I wasn't happy with the way things were going. Tamara and I kept talking, we'll say sometimes yelling, but trying to figure things out. And there would be moments of peace, and perhaps a step forward, there would be moments of clarity. Like the day that I had this moment where I realized that if God loved all of his children, and regardless of the choices they made, and if my goal was to be like my Father in heaven, then I should love her as God would love her. And this helped me see things differently, and I tried to find this in-between space where I could love her and defend my decision to stay with her while still serving the church and believing in the church. And then something changed for me. I read some things that made me doubt and question the foundation that house had been built on. They made me doubt everything about who I was, and I lost myself. As Micaiah put it, someone went into that house and lit the curtains on fire. And slowly everything was beginning to burn all around me. But I tried to keep that in between space, and I would say things to Tamara one day and things to my siblings and parents on another day. And looking back, I was just trying to still figure things out, but it was driving Tamara crazy because she was like, I don't know where you are. I don't know what path you're going. And she gave me what I felt like was an ultimatum of, you need to decide, you need to do something, choose, make a choice. I can't do this anymore. We've talked about it. She says it was an ultimatum, but that's what I felt, right? So to avoid conflict, I said, fine, I'll step away, right? I remember calling my father and telling him I was going to make this choice to keep my family together. And he said he supported that choice, that not going to church for a while will be fine, and yada, yada, so on and so forth. But I felt forced in those decisions. And even though I didn't realize it or want to admit it at the time, my love changed for her more than it had already. Choosing to step away from the church maybe was keeping my wife and children in the short term, but I was losing eternity. That ceiling together was gone. And I spiraled even further. And who I was now in question. I blamed Tamara for it, and yet she and my children were still such a force. And I didn't want to lose them. I still wanted us to be together. And then I was on this business trip, and I was actually running on a treadmill. And I listened to this song that I'm about ready to sing for you. And that became my vision. So if I could have Micaiah and Elijah come up. And right now they're going, which one is this one, Dad? we'll see how this goes. All right. Ready? Go for it.
Lost in a desert night, and we're chasing our paradise. When we can't fight another fight, we're gonna make it. You're my oasis. You're my oasis. You're my oasis. You're my oasis.
So I started to find myself, started to bring myself out of that desert. And though my theology hadn't completely moved on, I had a goal. I had that drive. I had this vision. I had my family out there, and they were going to pull me out. And I found some peace, a lot of discussion with Tamara and friends, and I began to build this new belief system. And though the house had been burned to the ground, the foundation was good, and it could still be built upon. And then I got a call from the church, and they were like, "Hey, Rob, do you want to come back and lead the music?" In case you guys missed, I kind of like leading music. And I just couldn't refuse, and so I said, "Yeah, let's do this." And I was creating these musical experiences, and then I'm going to invite the choir up because I'm going to sing a piece that changed everything for me. I'm not going to sing it. They're going to sing it. I'm going to wave my arm. So if I could bring the choir up. telling them to sing it like they believe it. So. Right now, you're all maybe saying, is this it? Oh, there's still a little bit more. So just... The applause was a little half-hearted, right? You were like, no, it's fine, right? You were all like, what are we supposed to think? And that's what happened. That's what happened to me. Is I got up and I led the choir in this song, and afterwards someone who I'd served with in the church got up and he said, if you had all seen Brother Thacker's face when he was conducting that piece, you would all know that this is true, that this is the true message. Yes. And I realized that wasn't where I stood anymore. It wasn't where my heart was anymore. And I was a hypocrite if I was going to be like, yes, let's create this experience. And so I stepped away fully. I mean, there's still a lot of things to work out, like with my siblings and my parents, how disappointed they were in me, I'm sure. That's what I felt. No longer this testimony, lost my faith, my eternal family was gone. But through a series of painful discussions, those ties began to heal. One of the moments that I remember especially was we visited my parents. They were serving a mission as a retired couple. And I remember going to visit them and feeling like there's going to be so much disappointment. And my mom at one point came and looked at me, hugged me, and said, I love you. You're a good son. Because I hadn't been that perfect son anymore. And I knew that her love was true. So while this healing was happening, Tamara and I were still having these ongoing discussions, and she kept saying, build this new thing with me. Build this future with me. Build something with me. And I felt like I was doing that. I was like, oh, we're doing this thing, right? We're doing this thing. I think, hey, we're doing fine. And I would say things like, oh, I see now. Make some changes, shift something. But the change wasn't permanent. And there wasn't this change inside. I felt like I had changed. I'd given up so much. What else more could she want? What more could I offer? And then in 2020, when the world was in chaos for many of us, there came a moment of recognition, a moment of reconciliation. Through a series of events, it became clear to me that I had never forgiven her. I was still blaming her for my loss, blaming her for taking something the way that I didn't even really want anymore. I was grateful to not have that guilt of that list. But that initial resentment had festered and it remained buried in my heart. And even though all this healing and refining of myself and all these things had happened, I didn't love her for who she was or accept her for who she was. Because who she was had caused me to lose myself and lose so many things. But my love for her was the one thing that my love for her was the one thing that she assumed wouldn't change. That was all she wanted, was to be loved as herself, to be accepted as herself. And I realized I'd lost her. My heart hadn't changed. And this time when, an ultimatum came, if you will, created a moment of clarity. And I realized the very thing that had brought me out of the desert, this thing that had been my oasis and helped me find myself, and that I thought I had reached, hadn't actually been reached. And I realized that it may already be too late. And if I lost her, my family, as I hoped it would be, would probably also go with it. And then there came a moment. Fire from heaven. Fire from the universe. And I saw Tamara for who she was. And it was beautiful. And I wanted to love her for her and accept her for her, something that eluded me. Something that I'd sought after finally found me. And I was finally granted the prayer that we started with, that we all sing together and in humility. Our Savior, fill our hearts with sweet forgiving. Teach us tolerance and love. But I would change that tolerance to acceptance. So teach us acceptance and love. And so I now wanted to build that new house, and I wanted to build a new life and accept your invitation for that vision that we could be together and to build a future together on that joint path. So I do have 3 more songs. I know you're like, oh, where are we at here? Stay with me here for a minute. That show these points, and then we'll close, okay? Who do I need for this one? I need Pete. Here we go. Pete, come on up here. And Elijah. One step ahead. It's it. We got it. You know, it's the rearrangements that when you plan the timing of the chair up. We need a tuner, you good?
Good.
I wasn't going to sing this one, and then Pete was like, but it's good. We'll let you decide, but it fits. It fits.
How many times did I miss the signs? My stupid heart, it left me blind. Nobody else would forgive my mistakes. Nobody else would have stayed one step ahead of me. You saw what we could be down in your bones. How did you know that I'd come around? One step ahead, always guiding me through my haze. Was too scared to see what this could mean, but I see it now. I see it now. I see it now. How could I ever be enough? Worthy of someone else's love. All of my hang-ups and all of my fears, you made them all disappear. One step ahead of me, you saw what we could be. How did you know down in your bones I'd come around? One step ahead, always guiding me through my haze. Was too scared to see what this could be, but I see it now. I see it now. I see it now.
All right. Thank you. Peng Chang, you're up. This next piece talks about that home, that house. And then afterwards, I'm going to invite my family up, and we're going to make an attempt at even a bigger band together to close it out. Yeah. Nancy's like, yay. Yeah, so. We will call this place our home, the dirt in which our roots may grow. And though the storms will push and pull, we will call this place our home. We'll tell our stories on these walls, every year measure how tall, and just like a work of art, we'll tell our stories on these walls. Let the years we're here be kind, be kind. Let our hearts like doors open wide, settle our bones like wood. Over time, give us bread, give us salt, give us wine. A little broken, a little new. We are the impact and the glue, capable more than we know. We'll call this fixer upper. With each year, our color fades. Slowly our paint chips away. But we'll find the strength and the nerve it takes to repaint and repaint and repaint every day. Let the years we're here be kind, be kind. Let our hearts like doors open wide, settle our bones like wood. Over time, give us bread, give us salt, give us wine. Let the years we're here be kind, be kind. Let our hearts like doors open wide, settle our bones like wood. Over time, give us bread, give us salt, give us wine. Give us bread, give us salt, give us wine. Smaller than dust on this map lies the greatest thing we have, the dirt in which our roots may grow and give the right to call it home. It's the last one. Come on up. Had to make them cry instead of me cry, so. This worked at least one time that we did it, so. Let's see, I think I'm going to come over this way. This is my son, Tiankum. my daughter Micaiah, my wife Tamara, my soon-to-be son-in-law Sam, my son Elijah, and our adopted son Pete. Fine, my adopted father, Pete. All right. Here we go. There we go.
I spent my life trying to answer to the voice I learned and it was wrong of me to look so far ahead. I'll count my blessings one by one. I'll live a life I won't regret. And now I finally see the future's right in front of me, yeah. Now I find the future's right in front of me, yeah. I walked alone, I was scared of who I knew that I could be, but there was beauty in the darkest parts of my uncertainty. And now I finally see the future's right in front of me, yeah. And now I finally see the future's right in front of me, yeah. I feel it beating in my heart. 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 My heart. I feel it beating in my heart. And now I finally see the future's right in front of me, yeah. And now I finally see the future's right in front of me, yeah. And now I finally see the future's right in front of me, yeah. And now I finally see the future's right in front of me, yeah. And now I finally see the future's right in front of me, yeah. And now I finally see the future's right in front of me. Come on, Pete.
Thanks for giving me a little more time. I appreciate it.
Hi, Rob.
Hi.
So I thought we were going to hear a story about faith and transition. But what I heard was a story about love, love that endures, love that expands, and love that calls us forward. I am so very grateful that you and your family are part of this congregation and that you are so downright brave as to share your story with us. Thank you for loving. Thank you for loving us. Thank you for letting us love you.
Thank you.
all know, we've got a congregational meeting afterwards, but I don't think we can do anything else right now but sing Blue Boat Home.
Okay.
Yes.
1064. Please rise.
Friends, what keeps us kindred is the journey, is the love. It does not matter if you believe in God or if you don't believe in God. It does not matter if you keep a practice of prayer or if prayer sounds like a foreign word to you. It matters that you love. It matters that you tend to your heart and the hearts of others. It is what makes us kindred. It is what proves goodness again and again and again. Thank you, Rob, for sharing your story. Every one of you has a story. May you recognize the love that brought you to being and that calls you forward, and may you extend that love towards others in all your days. Go in peace, friends. Take a break, get some refreshment, come back for the meeting. Be well in your heart and in this good company. So may it be.